Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide... Actually, do we still want to call it a podcast?
It's still a podcast.
Yeah, it's not like it's a secret change or anything.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
We hope to inspire you by...
What the fuck, dude? Do you not have your notes up?
No, I don't.
The fuck have you been doing for the last hour?
We hope we can inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither is our D&D games.
All right. So moving on to our main topic, we have corruption rules.
By Matthew Mercer.
An adaptation of corruption rules for 5th edition D&D. Sounds familiar in the bedroom.
Landscapes house deeply evil places of artifacts that corrupt the very nature of people who spend their time around them. Sites where the presence of such terrible wickedness can slowly twist and infect the physical forms of even the most holy of creatures. Matt Mercer's Corruption, an adaptation of corruption rules for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, giving you the tools you need to inject some of this malice into your games.
The PDF is small.
How's that?
Use as reference.
Motherfucker.
How's that?
That was, I give you a B.
Okay.
It's a B.
Mostly because you started when I was talking, so the
Sorry.
first part's overlaid.
Oh,
And I'm pretty sure I was talking about that noise
we
sounding
get
familiar in the
low grades
bedroom.
if we cut you off. Is that how you work?
Sorry.
Can you say the certain landscapes house that first part there? Just I'll add it later.
Certain landscapes house deeply evil places or artifacts that corrupts.
That works. All right, so I'm really excited for this. This is something that I don't think I've ever been a part of and ever seen in any game I've ever played, where the magical items that we are chasing down have some sort of regional effect, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what that reminds me of. If you look at like the dragons and the big monsters, they have like a regional effect. You know, things that happens just because they're in the area, and this is kind of rules for evil places and items to have a very similar effect. So it is worth noting. It talks quite a bit about the influences happening when the creatures take. What are you doing?
Tate's gotta go.
Oh, see you later, Tape. Oh, I see it up there. This does talk quite a bit about the fact that it specifically affects them when they start taking long rests near these strong, unholy, evil, or corrupt places in the form of wisdom saves. And it gives actually gives a table here that talks about the levels of corruption and the difficulties, and even down to how far away they are. Like we got an easier DC if it's 5 miles away, right? And then if it's 500 feet away, your DC increases substantially from 10 to 4, and that's if there's little or mild corruption. But there's different like levels of how bad is the corruption, right? I think they go from no corruption to dead/insane, and it's just lines for insane and dead. It's like there's not even any values there, just you're dead.
Guys, I'm starting to hear voices, and they're not the usual ones.
So I think this is interesting because I can see an entire concept, in campaign setting, based around the spreading of this disease or this corruption that begins to alter the not only the players but all the villagers and the monsters and stuff like that. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a neat idea, and this is a concept we have seen in various types of fantasy, so it's kind of nice to see it applied to D&D as well.
I like that idea, especially considering the further into the campaign that they can get into, the more corruption there is, making it more difficult.
So what if this is something that wasn't part of the main story of the adventure, but is something that's happening in the background that slowly affects the players?
Like there's something else going on other than
Like
their adventure
like
is?
you start your adventure and your plan is, I got to go save the princess from the evil King Koopa, okay? But as you start taking on that adventure and then succeeding and then taking on another one, stopping Robin Hood and his merry men, meanwhile, every time you guys rest or do like a break, you have to make these saves and you don't really understand why. And you start to see slow changes in the environment. and the players may not actually be aware right away. Like they don't
Yeah.
know. Why did the homeless guy wake? The very nice village idiot guy all of a sudden hang himself, or well, probably 'cause he's a village idiot, but bad example, I guess. Why did he all of a sudden viciously attack the woman who gives him snacks every morning or something?
I was trying to play jump rope with my neck.
You can gradually seep in that corruption, and there's actually a scale for like point system in here. So, and it progressively gets worse. Brandon, is there any rules or instructions on how to like deal with the corruption at all?
Looks like corruption can be cured naturally by resting away from the source of corruption, which completely makes sense.
Which makes sense, and you can probably use the DC scale here, that the farther you get away, increases your chance to succeed.
Sleep it up, buddy.
Yeah, the closer you sleep the radiation, the more likely you're going to grow a third arm. And let's see, that's at the rate of 1 corruption point per week of rest. Otherwise, a lesser restoration spell can cure 1 corruption point, and a greater restoration spell can cure 1d4 corruption points.
So, Ian, what exactly is a corruption point?
Well, the more you get, the more worse stuff you could possibly be affected with.
Yeah, basically it's a sliding scale, right?
Yep.
And as you get more points, that's where I mentioned earlier the no corruption to the dead and insane levels. The more of these points you get as you fail saves, the more it's going to affect you. What's cool though, because of the way that works, that sliding scale, all the players will be affected at different rates. So really, who will go crazy first, right? I mean, and luck plays a big part of it, and I think that's really interesting. Was there any other ways to deal with the corruption, Brandon? I think there was a couple more.
There was lesser restoration and greater restoration.
Right, so there are some magic that could be in the hands of the players to deal with it.
Or sleeping it off from a good distance away. Mostly covered.
Yeah, but if you're once again, I'll say if you go back to the point where you're not really aware of what's going on, this would be, you wouldn't know to move away, right? So this is cool because let's say the players are spending all their resources protecting against this corruption. So now when they do go off into battle or combat, they're going to start with lots of their resources consumed right from the get-go. And I think that's fantastic. So aside from just being in the vicinity, Ian, what are some other things that could really lead to the different types of corruption?
I thought that was the big thing right there.
Well, that's definitely the big one, but there's some other stuff that could appears to be able to affect it too.
And sometimes some situational events or trauma that is given to characters can lead to additional corruption points as well. Like encountering particularly horrible creatures to afflict corruption points, or just going through a traumatic event, or coming across some objects, or reading something. So very, very Call of Cthulhu, basically.
Oh man, I totally should have made a monster variant that had that. Damn. Yeah, and you could toss that to any.
Episode's not over yet.
Huh?
Episode's not over yet.
Well, there's already something in there, and I'm not going to write something. But
Can you read this tome? It says, "Piss yourself, corruption."
So that's actually a good point, B. If they find magical items or tomes or scrolls or stuff that they open when they're investigating, that might be filled with this corruption because it's been sitting in the area for a long time, and it might spread it even quicker. And that's interesting. Maybe that's where it starts, is they find a tome, and the tome itself's not cursed, but it's absorbed the dark energies from whatever's causing the corruption in the area. So, were you gonna say something?
I remember hearing a story from a GM who was running a horror-based game, and he talked about, and this actually did legitimately freak out the player too. Like their character was in their room, and suddenly flashlight cuts started appearing in like the wall they were in, and blood started running down from them, and then it suddenly disappeared. And the player was like, "What the crap is going on here? This is freaking me out."
No.
And to be fair, that is kind of a creepy mental image.
So, so there's actually a corruption table effect where you can roll on this to generate these random corruptions. So there is a nice big list that gives the corruption a a mechanical detriment, which I think is really cool.
It's like, what, 24 options?
Yeah, I think there's 23, 24 options. Yeah, I think you're right. But, aside from just the mechanical detriment, the real fun is being aware and weaving them into the narrative of the role-playing scenarios. Matt talks about, consider how some of these effects might alter a social encounter or adjust the character's reaction to a particular event. Don't be afraid to remind a player of their corruption should a moment arise where they have the opportunity to incorporate it, because we want to give the players their agency. And sometimes in order to do that, you have to remind them that, okay, you want to do that, but you're under this particular effect, and how would that effect alter the way your character's going to act? I think very rarely is a player going to say, well, no, it's not going to affect me. Well, I'm going to kick you out of my fucking game, you do shit like that. It's like, literally, it's part of the game. But anyways, I don't think I've only ever kicked one or two people out of my games. That needs to be an episode.
Yeah.
Anyway. So there's this massive corruptions list. There's quite a few. Obviously, we're not going to go through all of them, but I think we'd pick out 5 or 6 and go through some of our favorites. Brandon, is there one of these corruption effects that really stands out to you?
Yeah, cough. How the hell? You develop an uncontrollable cough that creeps up every now and then. You have disadvantage on dexterity stealth checks.
All right, guys, I'll sneak in. Oh, who was that? Could you imagine that shit? So I got a question for you, Ian. Yep. This cough scenario and the disadvantage on the stealth checks.
Yep.
Would you always say that they when they roll at disadvantage and fail, it's because of the cough?
Not always. We can definitely see a big contributing factor. I can see if you use it too much, it would get repetitive.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with that, because this seems like something like, oh, you have disadvantage, oh, you cough, and you give away your location. But if you toss that in with other things, like they have disadvantage because of the cough, but maybe they run into something, because they were, wiping away a cough, or they don't hear. Mm-hmm. They don't hear a guard approaching because they were coughing. So you're utilizing the cough, but not necessarily the cough drawing attention.
Right.
So I think that's a really good one, actually. When you picked that, I was like, of all those on there, that's the one you're going to pick, but that's actually not bad.
Well, it's all about corruption. I just saw cough. I was like, what the fuck?
Ian, do you have one that really jumps out at you?
Body parasites.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Body parasites. You're basically infected with parasitic worms that ride through your innards, and anytime you regain hit points through spending hit dice, the amount you gain is cut in half.
Oh, snap. That's rough.
Ouch.
That is really rough, because it doesn't directly affect the first combat you engage in.
Nope.
But affecting your ability to recover in farther combats makes those combats much more harder than they would be, because you won't be at max health.
You gain 10 HP. Wait, you rolled 5. Why? I have worms.
So how does that fit? How does that fit? Like from a role play standard, would you just say, "Oh, you're infected, you lose half hit points"? How would you get the flavor out of that?
Well, I mean, you're being it's due to the corruption of something nearby, and I can see how that could cause infestations and vermin just to seep into the world around you, and it's literally infected you as well. In this case, with parasitic vermin of some kind.
How do you tell your players you have worms?
Or occasionally you'll see something crawling underneath the skin too.
That's where I was going. Would you see like stuff crawling under their skin or showing up behind their iris when you're talking to them? Like, can you imagine a social encounter as you're talking to somebody, and then you describe how their eyes have worms like slithering, I guess, inside of them? Ooh, that's gross.
Or just have one like pokes out of the ear and goes, hey.
It comes back in. Or how about, what if, you're taking your short rest, and you're bandaging your wounds, and I hate to say cough again, you cough or sneeze, and the critters like come shooting out.
Or you just become like more skinny and withered as time goes by too.
Ooh, I like that. See, there's actually a physical description you can leverage as a roleplay thing. I like that. So here's one I thought was really, really...
Like, I know in like Fate Zero, for example, there was one character who needed to gain power fast. in order to prepare for a tournament.
Uh-huh.
And he worked with a wizard whose specialization was like insect magic. And part of the way they powered him up quickly was they basically infected him with full of parasites that basically increases magic. But it's so hard and stressful on his body, he just like he just like got a lot skinnier, coughed a lot more, and his hair turned white just from the fear, stress, and trauma of the entire process.
Oh, jeez. It's crazy. I like that.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you take shortcuts, people.
Hugs, not drugs.
And you did see bugs occasionally crawling under his skin too.
Oh,
so.
that's awesome. I love the flavor that comes with this. So there's one that really kind of jumps out at me. You guys mentioned some stuff that's kind of a little more mundane.
But that's what made it more effective too.
Yes, I agree. This one, moral decay. Your disposition towards the world around you has shifted towards the darkness that twists within you. Your alignment shifts once either laterally or towards evil. Good can shift to neutral. Neutral can shift to evil. Lawful can shift to chaotic. Chaotic can shift to lawful. This shift is at the DM's discretion and should be relayed to the player in secret. So you keep it away from the other players. Now, you expect the paladin...
You see the paladin just come up and hit some old lady in the face. Like, what the fuck happened to you?
She's littering. Didn't you see her throw the paper on the ground?
The one I saw was can become lawful. I'm just like picturing like the rogue becoming lawful.
That's where I'm getting where he's pickpocketing himself and picking his money into other people's pockets.
What are you doing?
Is that right?
I was thinking more along the line of, hey, rogue person, I can't do that. That's illegal.
I stole this from you yesterday. Here you go. I mean, you dropped this yesterday.
If only.
And I think what makes this even cooler is some of the stuff that's not as cut and dry like the paladin and the rogue. Say the wizard. If you have a wizard that has wanted to dabble more in necromancy and haven't really done anything with it, you could start changing the description of your spells, right? As for firebolt, for instance, instead of you've been describing it as a bolt of red fire for 6 sessions, and then all of a sudden during the next attack you describe as it comes out as like a black flame. I mean, that would catch everyone by surprise, and it would be a subtle change that wouldn't change anything mechanically. But then you start to do things that are little. Let's say you're good or let's say you're neutral, and you end up starting to shift towards evil. So next time you summon your familiar, instead of it being an owl, it's like a skeletal owl, like something out of the Ravenloft campaign setting.
Yeah.
So you really could do a lot of it with this as far as flavor and role play, aside from just the general shifting. I like this one because alignment is not something that gets a lot of attention in 5e. It almost seems like it's like kind of on the back burner in this edition. Would you agree?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah. But I think they kind of did it though, just because people got really hung up on it in the past.
Yeah, and
the game mechanics kind of got tied to it as well. And I think they're trying to move to the point like just play your dang character.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, the alignment shift made me think of like this one scene from Justice League. Did you wash your hands? No, because I'm evil.
And I don't pee on them.
Oh, that one's evil.
Brandon, is there another one that really jumps out at you?
Severely phobic is the one I'm looking at.
Oh yeah? What's it say?
You acquire a severe fear of a certain creature type of the DM's choice. When you enter combat with a creature of the chosen type, you become frightened of the creature for 1 minute and must make a wisdom saving throw. DC is 10 plus your total corruption points. On a failure, you are stunned. You can repeat the saving throw at the end of your turn.
Swan!
Swan. I think this is interesting because I just started really in our monthly game with our patrons. In our recent game and moving forward, racial tension has been a real big important feature of it, and I think this is hilarious because you can have that same phobia of something that's not scary or terrible. Can you imagine, a human get a phobia of humans? You know what I mean? Like, I've seen what you can do. Don't hurt me. Please stay away. Get away from you, filthy beast.
That's your reflection.
Oh no. Everyone's like, where is Thorg? I don't know. Did he come down from his room? You get up there, and he's like hiding in his corner. He's like, he's gonna get me. What? And you point, and it's a mirror. I think that's fantastic.
Imagine going down to the river to get a drink. The second you look to put your hands in the water, like, what the fuck is that? You pull your sword out and start stabbing the water.
That's pretty cool. Ian, is there another one that jumped out at you?
Eyes of Shadow. Your eyes grow jet black and empty, and your pupils become small, glowing points of green flame. Your dark vision is now... you can also gain dark vision for 60 feet, but you also gain sunlight sensitivity.
Nice.
Basically, that means you have disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom checks that rely on perception and sight when you're in sunlight.
So that's pretty interesting.
So the jaw racial feature.
Yeah, that's something that would really come across in roleplay as well.
Yep.
Because your eyes just turning black. I mean, turning mine are brown because I'm full of shit, but does turning black mean full of hate? I mean, this is interesting because, yes, it has a really powerful drawback. That disadvantage on attack rolls in light, or that involve your sight in direct sunlight. That is dangerous when you consider how much time is spent in broad daylight.
Yep.
Fighting stuff. So it's definitely a big punishment. But once again, I think it's at its best when it's at its roleplay opportunity, when you go to talk to somebody and they don't want nothing to do with you because you look like an evil bastard. I mean, you're not going to be like, hey, Jim, how are you doing? What the hell happened? His eyes are black. He must be evil now.
Now, that's actually something I've wondered about for a long time.
What's that?
And that's when you have the sunlight issue. If you are decked from head to feet in complete cloth and your face is covered, does that still affect you?
Can you see?
Yeah.
The sunlight sensitivity is just like when you stare in the sun. So you can cover yourself and make ways for you to be able to see just fine.
Well, I think part of it, though, from the original lore of Forgotten Realms was jaws were cursed.
Were they?
So just being in the sunlight screwed them up.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know that I've been going through the drits and they didn't really touch on that very much. So just like
That's just something
his
I've heard, though,
eyes
from posts.
his eyes are just like overly sensitive. Like they all like feel like their eyes are like on fire when the burning ball of flame enters the sky, and they're like, ah. But even then, but still, I think this has got a lot of RP aspect, and I think that makes it more interesting. I mean, if an old lady is looking to hire some adventurers, and all your guys' eyes are of shadow, they're like, I don't know that I want your help. Can I find some different heroes?
These heroes are broken.
So
You have no idea, lady.
So the one I really wanted to talk about is the paranoid one. You no longer trust even your closest allies. You no longer count as a friendly creature to anyone, nor does anyone count as a friendly creature to you in regards to abilities or spells.
Yikes.
The only creature your beneficial spells and abilities can target is yourself.
Ouch.
This will really fuck up specific classes.
Yep.
First thing that comes to mind is
Cleric.
Cleric. Bard. A lot of the support stuff, because this will fuck you up mechanically. Like your character, you're gonna have to deal with it in a difficult way. To me, this is one of the more challenging ones on the list because of it. But I also think it would be like awesome. Like you want heals? I can't heal you. You'll come and attack me when you're at full health.
Why don't you use inspiration on the tank? Fuck you, that's why.
I don't trust you right now. I don't want you. Stay away from me. Did you take my money? You're the rogue. I had more than this.
I had 5 gold yesterday, now I have 4.
You paid for your room. Liar!
Shut up!
Oh my god, I think it's just so fun. And like the cleric's trying to heal you after you get stabbed in the gut. No, I don't want your devilish heals. Don't touch me. You're gonna try to suck out my soul and give it to somebody else.
Again.
So I really these are all really fantastic. There is a shit ton of them, and they all are different and unique in their own little way. What's really interesting, though, is that these don't have to just be tied to corruption effects in the area. It mentioned earlier giving these features to monsters. We're huge fans of monster variants, so easily attaching any one of these effects to like a claw or rake attack on some sort of evil creature like a devil or a demon or something like that would give a whole new level of fuck to the players. So I definitely think it would be really cool, and it's definitely something you should check out. You can actually pick it up on DMsguild for no cost. It is a pay what you want. I should double check that.
You know what's fun is if you're doing a campaign, you're getting towards the end, and the corruption just keeps growing and growing, and they finally beat the bad guy, but the corruption does not disappear because it came from a different source.
They weren't the source; they were also infected.
Yeah. It is actually a free product, 100% free. So you can pick it up on DMsguild, and I'll also put a link in the show notes for the product. But it is a powerful resource, and it's something I'm going to be using soon. So I recommend give it a shot. Is there any other comments you guys have on this?
Nope.
Not really, no. It sounds fun.
Yeah, and once again, it doesn't have to be the main thing of a plot. Just have your players doing their normal adventure thing, and then every time a session ends or they go to bed, just start gradually infecting them with this shit and see how long it takes them to realize something's wrong. Could you imagine as a player, you're at the end of the night, you all are resting in the tavern. The session is coming to a close, and the DM asks, "Everyone, give me a wisdom saving throw," and then ends the session there. That would be awesome. So thank you, Matt Mercer, for this awesome adaptation. I think it's fantastic, and you did great work. I think that'll do it for our main topic today. Before we move on to our final segment, we have another gift to give away, compliments of Loresmith. Brandon.
What?
Brandon, who's our winner today?
Our winner today is Frank Schlegel.
Congratulations, Frank. If you enjoy the adventure, please leave Loresmith a review. Let him know what you thought of Claws of Madness, and also check out his other products. He's got lots of good stuff. I do want to play this one.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
So dope, isn't it?
Yep.
Thank you, Lee. You're so awesome. Our character concept of the day is the Flying Russian. In an effort to reach out to our combat enthusiasts, this concept is far more mechanical than what we generally provide. The Flying Russian starts off as a barbarian that picks up the path of the totem warrior, and when you do, you pick up the aspect of the eagle, which, while you are raging and aren't wearing armor, other creatures have disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you, and you can use your dash action as a bonus action on your turn. Now, we want to focus on the importance of the dash action as a bonus action.
Yep.
That means you can double your movement every round. That's important.
That's right, people. There are other totems other than bear.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, you would never know because everyone takes bear, right?
Bear's awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, additional
Resistance when you're
resistances. Yeah. So, and that's what you pick up at level 3. When you get to level 6, Brandon, which aspect do they pick up?
Get aspect of the bear.
There it is. What does the aspect of the bear do?
Your carrying capacity, including maximum load and maximum lift, is doubled. And you have advantage on strength checks made to push, pull, lift, or break objects.
All right, so we want to focus on the carry capacity for in the maximum load and maximum lift is doubled. That's important. You're basically doubling what you can drag around in weight, right? Mm-hmm. Ian, what is the last feature at 14th level?
Last but certainly not least, aspect of the eagle again at level 14. While raging, you have a flying speed equal to your current walking speed. And this only works for short bursts. And you fall if you end your turn in the air and nothing else is holding you up.
Right, so the big thing to focus on here is you gain a flying speed equal to your walk speed. So, when you dash, would you agree you can still fly farther?
Yep.
So,
In Russia, you don't hit ground. Ground hits you.
so with all of these things combined, boom, 40-foot high pile drivers. Anybody play Street Fighter? Zangief? See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
With the fact that you grapple somebody, it does move your speed down to half.
Yep.
While the carry capacity doesn't directly apply to that feature, you'll find that a lot of DMs are pretty, you can double your weight, so I'm not going to punish you for your movement. But don't hold to that, but it definitely fits the theme of the build. And since you can dash, you can basically grab somebody, fly straight up, and do a flying pile driver into the ground. How much damage does that do?
It's
That'd be what 4d6 because it's you do a d6 for every 10 feet, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So is this the most optimal damage build?
No.
No. But
It's fun.
is it the most fun?
is it going to be fun? Yes. Now, another thing to keep in note. How many people can you grapple at once?
How many arms you got?
How many arms you have? So at least you can grapple 2. So you can do 4d6 to 2 different targets simultaneously. Now, 5th edition does come with a lot of up to your DM sort of stuff. So your DM may encourage some other penalty to the enemies for pile driving them from 40 feet in the air. But at the very least, you're going to keep them grappled and keep them from engaging other enemies.
Yep.
And slamming their faces in the ground all the while. Now, nothing's to say you can't climb up onto something else and jump from there, increasing your damage die.
Nope.
One of the most easiest things is crawling on top of a roof or something, easily adding another 10 feet.
Or if you're something next to a cliff, grapple them, fly, let them go while you're still flying.
Yeah,
Flying back.
and drop them off, yeah. The other thing to consider, too, is that...
Which is actually how eagles do. Some eagles do hunt in mountain areas.
Oh, well, I guess that would make it...
That's so fucked up.
I guess if you're an
Like-
eagle and you want, scrambled
Like-
guts...
Like I've seen some mountain goats on some. I've seen videos of mountain goats hang out on mountains, minding their own business. Mm-hmm. Only for an eagle to fly out of nowhere, grab them, drag them off the side of the mountain, and let go.
Oh, jeez. But that's kind of the whole idea behind this build, so...
It's totally a thing.
It just flies down. Gotcha, bitch.
The other thing to consider
Well, I
is...
got Steve.
The other thing to consider is dropping and pile driving them into like hazardous material and stuff. Because you're raging, you have resistances to a lot of regular stuff. So, as a barbarian, you have a lot of hit points. So,
Maybe that's what happened to that ninja in Sekiro.
jeez, that when they come screaming out of nowhere off the kite,
Yep.
that's funny. What do you guys think of this? Would you run something like this?
I could see it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Take people, throw them off a cliff. Throw them into lava. Throw them into anything.
This can be a fun build.
Yeah, and you can grab other things. I mean, how would a tiny little goblin feel if you dropped an entire cart on its head from 40 feet in the air? But by grappling them, you restrict their movement, and you can control where they land and stuff. So keep
What
that in
the
mind.
H?
What?
God, what if you took this and then went down a path that teaches alchemy and you made bombs?
You can do flying power bombs.
No, you fly and you just drop bombs on people.
Well, you can do that with any flying of features, but
Not the point.
yeah.
We can
The flying power bombs. All right, well that'll do it for our character concept, the flying Russian. What is in the Wreck-It Ralph? What does Zangief say in the little meeting thing? 'Cause you remember what he says? He
Just
says
because you crush head between your thighs don't make you evil. Or something like that.
Zangief like to take head, put it between thighs and crush like sparrow egg. That does not make Zangief evil. You're not going turbo on us, are you?
Brandon, would you like to tell us about our monster variant today?
Our monster variant.
I think you'll love this.
comes to us from Ryan V. What the fuck? Fangirls. It's a variation of the gibbering mother.
Mouther. Dude.
Mouther. I didn't see the U. Variation of the gibbering mouther. Fangirls gather in a mob
Mob mentality.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read this?
Fangirls gather in a mob mentality, looking for royalty or renowned heroes. Once the fangirls seize a target, they go 5 times their speed towards their famous person. While they speed toward their target, a high, incoherent, ecstatic shrill projects to their victims, stunning them. What the fuck? If the heroes or NPCs fail a DC 17 Dex save, they are immobile in fear. If they are hit by fangirls, they take 18 or 66 damage. If the hero dies, they are painfully consumed into the fangirl mob. What the fuck is this?
So he actually, Ryan actually put some pretty detailed changes to the stats as well.
Oh my god.
Armor class is only 7, which is a significant reduction. Why don't you tell us about
my God.
the hit points and speed there, B?
This stats. Armor class 7. Hit points is 25, 2d6 plus 4 for each additional fangirl in the mob. And their speed is 10 feet, 50 feet if it notices nobility or renowned hero, 60 feet if target has long black hair, or 70 feet if the name is Tom, Jared, Jensen, Troy, or Norman.
That's awfully specific.
Condition immunities are they are immune to prone, and they are immune to immobilize. And since they have dark vision of 60 feet, what the fuck? All known languages. They have all known languages. Fangirls are everywhere. They are CR3 and worth 600 XP.
What do you guys
Oh my
think
God.
about this?
This is hilarious.
I thought Brandon would appreciate it, as he's had fangirls chasing him around several times.
That's really funny.
I'll never forget the save me look. So this
It was
is
at Shidokan, wasn't it?
yeah, it was at Shootercon. So this is pretty interesting.
Tell
just
me your
because,
secrets, Brandon.
just because I can see tossing this sort of monster right in the middle of a city. Like, you're never going to toss a gibbering mouther in the middle of a city, generally, but you can totally have fangirls as your heroes earn renown. Or make it worse if your hero is a noble and is renowned.
And because they're technically innocent civilians, you probably don't necessarily want to hurt them
Right,
either.
right. So this is interesting, and I think this would be really great during, like, a catastrophic event, right? Where something is going on and they're stopping the hero from helping.
What if a bar gets cursed where every time he appears in the city, one of these appear?
I like that. That's
At first,
nice.
like, this is awesome. They're on, save me!
I think one of the strengths comes from this is the point you made, Ian, is with the fact that they're not necessarily got to be bad. They just, I think they would be at their best when there's some other event going on and they're not actually treated as a monster, right? Mm-hmm. Like the fact that they basically deal 1866, they basically are trampling you. Like
They should have added
like clawing at you as they're trying to hug you and kiss your hands and shit.
a contingent, like if they get within 10 feet of you and you manage to pull out a quill and paper, they stop and you can give them autographs.
You know, if a player came up to me like a bard said, "Yes, you want my autograph? Whoosh, I'll sign it for you."
Okay, or you will mobilize
Sign
them
my
out
baby.
by taking your sheriff and throwing it into the crowd and running away.
Running away.
At the shard, I must have it!
The fangirls are grappled for 5 minutes as they fight each other over your sweaty shirt. I think this is hilarious and fantastic and is a take on monsters I've never seen. So I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much, Ryan V, for this awesome fangirls monster variant. Ian, would you like to tell us about our encounter of the podcast?
The encounter, once again, from Ryan V, is my own worst enemy. He got this idea for the encounter the other day, and for reference, he plays a weekly solo game with a friend, then once a month plays a campaign with a group of friends, which also includes the same set friend in the solo game. For both, his friend started as a sorcerer, but last week, his 4th level sorcerer died from a skeleton, yeah that's right, a skeleton, in the solo campaign. He's still playing the sorcerer in the group campaign though, but he also started playing a fighter rogue in the solo campaign. Now this is where it gets interesting. For the new solo campaign, he's having it set 20 years in the past of the group campaign. So when the final battle happens in the solo campaign, the fighter rogue will be really powerful, that he'll become the final boss in the group campaign.
Oh my god.
This is where, that way his old character has to defeat the new character. And considering this is a special circumstance, it would be hard to work into any official campaign. But it would be cool for DMs to basically bring in a charged up version of a character that one player's played and doesn't use anymore, and have it be the big bad in the new campaign.
What do you guys think about this?
That sounds really interesting.
I mean, could you imagine, Brandon, if we started a new campaign and your gun mage Malachite became a villain and you had to fight against your own character using all the moves and stuff you've been doing?
Yeah, knowing what the gun mage can do, I would not be happy with doing that, considering the fact that I'm beefing the shit out of his stats.
Yeah. Now,
I just briefly in my head pictured our party's moving along, we're running their own business. Suddenly a door gets kicked down, and you see this hulking Goliath with veins popping everywhere and eyes glowing red, carrying an axe that has flesh going from the axe, covering his arm, and going,
Thorg wants steak.
so I think that would be really cool. I do think you have to be careful with this, because I do think some players would not be okay with it.
right.
There are players that aren't cool with stuff like this, but as a DM, you have to make the decision yourself what is okay and what's not.
Yep.
You should know your characters enough to do this. The other thing I think would be interesting is if you used it in a situation where the players, what they're doing is at odds with what that character believes, and isn't necessarily that he's the villain, but he's the big bad, as in what they're doing is not right.
Or a character in one campaign dies in the area full of necrotic magic.
Ooh, fitting in. I like how you fit that into our main topic.
Yeah. And they're on a different campaign. You come across a similar area, but then you fight a corrupted version of that character who came back.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's what happens when you just leave the dead lying around, you know?
Yep.
Because have you ever been in an adventure where your a player has died and you've just actually did something with the body?
Right.
I was like, oh, he's dead. That's the corpse.
Actually, the author of One Piece did that.
Really?
You remember when Zoro fought that one zombie samurai, right?
Spoiler alert.
Not really.
Okay.
But that samurai was actually a main character in the previous manga that author made.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did that in Borderlands 2 as well.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common then. I think it's a great idea. I love the idea that it's a solo campaign character.
Yep.
We've interviewed Paul on his solo campaign adventures numerous times, and fitting that in is just a fantastic way to meld the two stories. So I think this is great. I do say use caution and be careful, because some players may not be okay with that. Not that DMs generally give a fuck what the players say, but that's also what makes you a bad DM. So don't do that.
I was going to say, for better or worse.
Yeah. So that'll do it for our encounter of the podcast. My own worst enemy from Ryan V. Brandon, would you like to tell us about our magic item?
Oh, this is a hell of a magic item.
Well, considering you're missing most of it.
Is it not all on there?
Do you see a D100 chart on there?
No, I don't. I do not. This week's magic item is brought to you by DM's Council. It is the Rod of Winter Wonder. Legendary wondrous item. Don't even. This icy sapphire rod seems to be made of compacted snowflakes with a decorative clear globe adorning the top that imitates snowfall when shaken, like a snow globe. The player can spend one of its 5 charges to roll on the D100 chart and follow the results. The rod regains all charges after 24 hours. At the end of the winter festival season, any ongoing potential benefits that are not used end. The rod goes dormant until next year.
So I owe DM's Council an apology. He sent this around Christmas time, and I didn't put it. I put it not near where I store all the other UTTs coming in, and so I stumbled across it in an email that when I was looking for something else, because I totally forgot. I was like, I know I wrote that down and added it down. I created another file for UTTs. I must have not. I don't know what I was doing, but it didn't. I created a new one instead of putting it in the same location. So it's been lingering there for months. So I do apologize. Now that being said, I couldn't post all the D100 charts, so I copied the link. I made a link to it.
Pine Protector. For 1 hour, you gain a treant follower if the terrain is accommodating. Nice.
So there's 100 of these things, and they're all related. 29, you need a diet. Anytime you want, anytime you want in a 24-hour period, you can have a glass of milk and cookies appear in your unoccupied hands. These can't be shared with anyone outside of your party members.
Krampus, an evil holiday harbinger, stalks you for the next 48 hours.
Oh, this one.
Are these all winter related?
Yeah. He wrote a list of 100. That's why I feel so bad.
Oh,
Sorry.
where to go? Reason for the season. You get to ask your DM 2 yes/no questions or 1 question with a longer answer. The DM must answer truthfully. Might be game breaking.
Got it in bold. Might be game breaking.
That's awesome.
Blessed are the meek. Up to 3 targets get a +2 miscellaneous holiday bonus to attack and damage rolls for 1 hour.
Oh my
You
God.
hit somebody with your sword and a snowball comes flying out. hit him with a giant hammer and Jingle Bell starts playing.
And DM's Council, you should make a rod for every season. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. How about the gift of the church? The local church will give you rations and any basic supplies from their inventory. If it is a church of your deity, then the church will go beyond these amenities. I like that. Oh,
I think we got a few examples. Kevin, pretty good.
yeah, it's really good.
Like the rod of summer heat or something like that. And it makes it so that, if you point your sword in a direction, it shoots hot dogs.
Or
So-
your enemies can be attacked by a swarm of mosquitoes.
So there's one more. I like that. There's one more I want to talk about, and of course, on a D100 chart, you have to talk about 100. Time spent with family and friends. This effect can occur only once per season. You cast the Mordekainen's Magnificent Mansion, lasting 17 hours, and can't be dispelled or damaged by any evil being, which has a semi-permanent gate spell as long as the target is friendly towards your party. Occupancy of the mansion limitations still apply. Mirth and merriment are found in abundance inside. The joyous times of gifts, drink, song, and laughter fill the party and those close to them with new hope for the coming year. This time can be spent resting, training, researching, gathering information, crafting, or any other downtime activity, with any needed skill rules having advantage. Each party gains 1 level.
Wow.
So I felt so bad when I found this. I was like, oh.
Go back. Where was it? There it is. Oh, hurry up and slow down. You can cast to either haste or slow.
Running late. So what do you guys think of this magic item?
It's fine.
I love it. It's great.
And once again, I am so sorry that I lost it.
'Cause I thought the D100 tail was just going to be just random stuff. I had no idea it was particular to winter.
Yep, no, and that's why you laughed when you said Rod of Winter Wonder, because it was definitely Winter Wonderland. So, all right, that'll do it for our magic item of the podcast. Our Dungeon Master tip of the podcast. I was listening to Inter Party Conflict. Gabe and Jeff had a very interesting conversation, and I just absolutely loved it. One of the biggest challenges in D&D running is mass combat and large-scale combat, and we've actually had an episode covering kind of the details of running something, but they actually had an interesting idea that I think is way cooler. One of the hard things to keep in mind in mass combat is no matter how many things are going on around the players, as a DM, you can only ever introduce so many creatures for the players to deal with at any time, right? Mm-hmm. So it's hard to keep the idea that there's a mass battle going on when they're fighting, 8 kobolds and that's it. So instead, a great way around this and to make sure that the players experience the constant feel of battle around them is engage in legendary and lair actions as part of the encounter and treat it as random magical spells being shot off that, a fireball that happens to blow near and hit a couple people up. They weren't aiming towards the party. It just randomly blew up. Or maybe your lair action sends raining arrows on the party randomly.
Yep.
During the battle, so that way there's not really a creature for them to target, but they're being hit by random effects of a massive scale battle going on around them. And of course, depending on how the battle's going, you could increase or lower the DC or attacks on those, depending on if the good guys are winning or if they're losing or something like that. What do you guys think about that?
Then it does seem to be a good way to simplify things and keep the stakes high.
Yeah, and it really feels like if this random event is happening, either as a legendary or a lair action, as these events are going on, it keeps constantly reminding you that you're in the middle of a big ass battle.
That sounds like it'd really help too, because there's been times when we'd play, and what was it? It was Green something. What's the name of the town?
Greenest?
Greenest was the very beginning of Wrath of, or Horde of the Dragon Queen.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And there's a big battle going on, but it didn't necessarily feel like it at the time.
Yeah, well, in my defense, you also were all sneaking around, so
Yeah.
so that makes a difference. But you're very
yeah.
much right. That's a good example. That's a village under siege, and some of those combats don't make it feel like that.
Yeah, and this looks like it'd help a lot. I mean, maybe yeah, they're fighting 8 kobolds or whatever, but you have to make one of your players make a dex save because there's a random arrow being shot from a different direction, and you realize that none of the kobolds you're fighting have a bow.
Right, and it catches you in the shoulder or something. So
I took an arrow to the knee.
or the knee. Yes. So yeah, I really like this Dungeon Master tip. In fact, on our TikTok, that was the one I just went over today. So we have a TikTok, by the way. So check us out there. Follow us at Crit Academy.
Don't drink the water. Poison.
Any other points to touch on here?
I think we covered them.
All right, that'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip. Group battles as lair actions. Our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by including signature styles. So in Xanathar's Guide, under the fighter section, it discusses signature styles. While they specifically call out, the fighter, this concept can actually be really adapted to any sort of melee fighter. While it's not always the case, most characters should have a style or method that really mirrors their way of life or their outlook on life. For example, a sinister style combat, maybe often taken by like barbarians, it would have a fighting style where you scowl and sneer while fighting, and you enjoy mocking your foes as you defeat them one by one. And to me, this also kind of reminds me of like a Sith Lord style of combat where while you're engaged, you have this contorted face of
Nah.
yeah. And when you're fighting, make your character's personality come across by that particular sort of style. What's another sort of signature style there, Brandon?
Talking about the more energetic style, such as happiest? Oh yeah, a more energetic style of combat may be you sing and laugh during combat as your spirit soars. You are happiest when you have a foe in front of you and a weapon in hand. The character Luck in Black.
That's for me.
Oh.
So this actually reminds me of a character, Luck in Black Clover. Have either of you seen that?
Yeah.
I'm not.
That guy's insane.
He's crazy, but he's smiling and he's enjoying the flow of combat as he's fighting stronger and stronger foes. And he's just got this happy-go-lucky personality, and it's so different from what you expect in combat, but that's all on his outlook, is the excitement of challenging himself in combat and fighting stronger and stronger foes. And it comes out as oh, he's strong, I can't wait to fight him. Oh man, that one almost got me.
How about the Joker who plays with you?
I actually briefly thought about how my halfling monk in the past, his entire fire style was, I punch him in the dick.
Why do they keep kicking me in the dick? So I think this is important, in not just from like a fighter standpoint, but from any character. If you're playing a rogue who is really stealthy and fights that way, make sure that you describe that your face is relaxed and there's no tension in your emotions as you swiftly move back and forth, and make sure that comes across in the way your character behaves as well.
I also actually thought about the character Seahawk in the Netflix She-Ra series. His entire signature style is lighting his ship on fire and crashing it.
That sounds horrible.
What the
Does it
hell?
Run out of ships?
Yes, it's a running gag.
Oh, okay. What are some other different
cabbage.
sort of signature styles that would really come out that you guys have seen and tried to include?
The poker face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just sit there and they have no expression. You have no idea what they're gonna do next.
Okay, I can see that. So when they're engaged in combat, they're just kind of giving they're giving no indication that they're intimidated or that they're worried or that they're
Or
excited.
that they're interested at all.
One thing that
Reminds me of King from One Punch Man,
yes, he's very much like that. Who who another good example
which
is?
is why people think he's tough.
Have you guys ever watched Naruto?
Yeah.
In Naruto, Shikamaru, he's got a life as a drag mentality. So everything he does is all just like,
Life sucks.
what a drag. Ugh. You need me to go do this? Oh, that's so inconvenient. And so everything he does is just, it's an inconvenient and a waste of his time to be doing this stuff. And he would rather be sleeping under a tree or something. And so his combat style comes off a lot like that. Like, yeah. I guess I'll help you.
Or when he was forced to fight in the cheating exams when one of his friends threw him into the arena.
Right. Yeah. And then so the entire arena.
And he didn't even want to fight, but then President take a shot. I'm like, okay, that's it, you're going down. And one of the friends like, I'll bet you anything he's going to give up. And he actually fights really hard. And he's about to deliver the wing blow. I surrender! Wait, what?
And that's kind of the point. Your character's
didn't care.
personality should really come through in their combat style. So that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by coming up with your signature style. Before we close out today, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of Jeff Stevens.
Gift.
Yeah, we're fucking making it rain on you people. So follow us on
It's raining men.
Follow us on YouTube and subscribe to us at critacademy.com for your chance to win. Ian, who's our winner today?
Our winner for this one is Zin Mats X. I think.
Yeah, that's about as close.
Zim spelled with an X.
Yeah. Congratulations, Zimmats X. If you enjoy the Madhouse of Tasha's Kiss.
Oh my God. No.
Did you like that?
No, it's not that. It's the name. It's not Zim. It's X. I'm Matt's X. Like how I do Raven X or whatever.
X Raven X.
Emats?
I'm Matt.
Whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. If you enjoy Jeff Stevens' adventure, the Madhouse of Tasha's Kiss, please leave Jeff Stevens a review and check out his other products. The guy is a fucking genius. Cannot recommend Villains and Lairs enough. He actually just sent us a complimentary copy of Encounters in the Savage Seas.
Oh, that's very nice of him.
God, it's great. Man is a fucking genius. All right, well, that'll do it for our show today. Please join us on our next episode where we will be discussing Nerzagul's Dungeon Master Toolkit, an adamantine bestseller on the DMsguild. This is a must-have, and I see that he recently got the physical copies available.
Nice.
So I'm really excited to cover this and all the little cool tips that come in it, specifically the puzzles. You want to take that, B?
Oh. If you have any feedback or tips and tricks or topics you would like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Crit Academy.
You can also find us now on YouTube. Subscribe
Yay.
to be entered to win.
Huzzah. We were there before. You just got met us before.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be starting actually doing videos, so...
Hashtag.
If you have any feedback on our tips and... Did you already read that? Yes, you did.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy, and if you did, you can help others find our show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes. If you are not aware, we just gave away Fat Loots last week, or we gave away. You know what? Doesn't matter. If you did, you can help others find our show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review. Or you can just send us a message telling us how much you enjoy the show. Maybe that should be episode 0, a mailbag episode.
Yeah.
I just read another one to Brandon earlier that was just fantastic. Also, be to like us, share.
Also, be sure to give us a like and a share. Why are you still talking?
I don't know. I talk too much. If you'd like to support the show, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month. You get to all kinds of different little benefits, including, maybe being a part of a game that I run. Brandon takes art commissions. You can find pricing over at Facebook. I feel like I'm missing something. Or you can pick up our Unearthed Tips and Tricks book or our Gun Mage and toss us a few dollars there. Or our Brawler. Our Brawler should have, as of this recording, our Brawler should be coming out, should be out. Or at the release of this recording, our Brawler should be out, so check that out. I pay for almost all custom art, so if you want to support the show, those are good ways to do that. And a lot of playtest goes into these. I either do solo tests or I get lots of playtesters to help me. So they're not perfect. They're perfectly. They're tested very well. And if you find something that's unbalanced or something that's different, please let us know so we can fix it. We've making adjustments and improvements regularly. So
Refinement.
yes. Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com and follow us on YouTube so we can help you on your future adventures as well as be entered to win cool prizes each and every week. You will also find our links to our fellowship members there as well. If you have not followed D&D, if you have not followed Interparty Conflict and checked out their podcast, their show is awesome. Gabe and Jeff answer your questions to help you have the best tabletop experience possible. Also, D&D Character Lab, those guys are awesome. Every week they create very fully fleshed out characters using a myriad of materials, a lot of which is now starting to come from DMsguild as well. And they build these characters and then argue whose baby is better and who doesn't like that. So and also check out the other fellowship members. There's a lot of people that are part of it. It's a community of content creators. So head on over to Crit Academy and click the Crit Nation link there. Oh, you can also pick up shirts and shit and other stuff. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of ways to support us.
I like that.
Anyway,
The nice shirts.
yeah. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon.
I'm your co-host, Dan. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Success.
I'm getting better with the timing.
Yeah. Although our past